Here.
Here. Here. Here.
And, I see the lawyer is here for, see there's a motion to go to executive session.
No, that's just.
Okay. All right. The first presentation is forensic audit update by secretary. All right, look, I hope I pronounce this right. The Mayor Energy Solar Program and Space Allocation.
Lumen Energy.
Okay, Lunar Energy, okay, sir, you on. Did you need a table or did you?
Oh, that'd be nice. And what's
Oh, you needed all that?
yes, I spoke to
We had actually printed out the,
no kidding.
Okay.
we don't have the.
I have this.
Yes.
Okay.
That working out. You want to see it or?
We have another, we should have another table right there. It should be on. Oh, wait a minute, let me get the, let me have that microphone. Oh, it's right there on the table. One of the covers that go on the mic.
Thank you.
No, you got press, okay. Put the cover on there. Then you press the button and hold it until it turns green. There you go. Is it green?
It is green. Yeah, I'm on.
Can you hear?
Yes.
I can't hear you. I can't hear
Can you hear me back there?
No.
Testing.
That's.
Let me have that one.
Hello? All right, am I heard? Awesome. Good evening, everybody. First, I want to be able to say that this isn't a normal presentation for me specifically. I want to be able to first say thank you to the Village of Sauk Village for one, allowing us to come and present, but specifically to those who have been figures in my life specifically that helped me get to the point that I am currently. Trustee Debbie Williams, Mayor Derek Burgess, Miss Sherry, I call her Miss Sherry. They've known me since I was 15, 16 years old and been a part of my growth, and I've been a volunteer ever since then. So to bring back some resources, and every time I come back to try to bring something back to my hometown, is always an honor, so thank you for allowing me. First, we're gonna, if everybody has their outlines out. Everybody's good? So we're going to go through the presentation from what it would look like from a customer standpoint, and then we're going to speak on, it's going to be 3 tiers. So first we're going to speak from where it's, from a customer standpoint, where they stand to profit, where solar actually helps out a customer. And it'll be facilitated by my account manager, Ms. Jennifer Stewart.
Good evening, everybody. Okay, so the first thing on our table of contents, we'll see about Lumina Energy. It reads, Lumina Energy is the clean energy tech company making energy affordable around the world. We support homeowners and businesses in lowering the cost of energy by turning their property into an asset. We are not here to replace your utility, but enhance your energy experience. Lumina is the world's first closed-loop clean energy tech company. So offsetting the bill. How does solar energy affect the consumer's utility bill? Depending on your sun exposure, you can receive more sun than your home needs. meaning you will then have the option of selling your energy back to your utility. Make your home make money for you. Should your home not have gotten enough sun during the day, your utility will continue to provide electricity. Having a solar panel is in no way replacing your utility. You will stay with your utility, just allowing them to pay you for your excess energy. The next slide is how it works. So we have a little visual over here on the side that basically gives us an idea of the way that solar energy works. You can see there's a meter on the person's home, as well as something inside that can store the energy. The solar panels take in the sun rays and convert it into usable electricity. When the sun isn't as bright, your utility provides energy as needed. When the solar panel has collected more energy than the home needs, your utility may buy that energy from you. So the next talks about tax incentives.
The next one, there are tax incentives for each homeowner that can be able to have solar panels. It says on your slide, whereas in 2019 there was allowed for a 30% tax credit residential. So that means that's on top of the taxes that you're already getting back when you file your taxes. Another 30% tax credit will be added onto it as well. In 2020 is 26%, and as of November 1st, 2021, the tax credit will be lowered down to 22%. Okay? And the reason why I wanted the projector, because I actually have what it looks like for a home in Sauk Village and what it looks like to actually have it. So I wanted to be able to show, and I'll just get up and show everybody when I can, but it's 3102 225th Street in Sauk Village. Okay? One moment, please. Oh, can I have the Wi-Fi? Connection to the Wi-Fi. Is there a password or something?
Yeah, I don't have the tax. If I have it, it's in my office.
Excuse me. Okay, just this one moment. Yeah, we'll come back to that in a moment. Getting back to these, and then we'll move on to equity and comparing profits. So it's going to be the second to last slide on your sheet, okay? Comparing profits, are we there?
Hello? 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 I'm just trying to see if someone's going to call this, okay?
Oh, okay. All right, so comparing profits. So once again, we're speaking from the position of what it means to the customer. The average home in Illinois is valued at maybe $200,000 to $205,000. Maybe it's different in different towns. The home that we actually found in Sauk Village was valued at is actually for sale for $142,000. Adding solar panels and then the technology that we offer as far as storage and things of that nature adds to the value by a minimum of 4.1%, as done by as surveyed by Zillow or Real Estate Authority in the United States. On average, on the low end, it will be an average of anywhere between $8,000 to $12,000. You can be able to see on the picture that you have there that properties appreciate, which means properties appreciate in value, which also means a lot more money to be able to get back into the village. Okay? And then I was going to show you what it actually looks like for a customer, the tax incentives, so real tax, what a real look like for a customer. Okay, so then that's going to have to be for another day. So that's basically it. What we found with what we had for 3102 Sauk Village. What we found 3102 for 225th Street. It was going to be a rebate, a real-time rebate of $17,000 from two grants that will be given back to them through their taxes. So So it's going to be the federal incentive, and then there was also Illinois Shines that gets back another incentive, just being rewarded for having renewable energy as part of the property. So we did all that to say, just to make sure that people can understand the benefits of solar. And then the second part of our presentation is what we want to be able to bring to Sauk Village. If you can be able to bring up, I want to say it's the last sheet that we have, it's called Empower. Does everybody have that? That one exactly. So, Lumina Energy is interested in making sure that we give back to communities and not just make money. It's more about helping our communities, or maybe specifically my hometown, but also other communities. We have an agreement with Maywood, Illinois, and we're also coming into an agreement with Linden, Illinois as well. And for every home that chooses solar energy through Lumina Energy, there's going to be a rebate incentive given back to the town or municipality. Sauk Village currently has 3,300 homes. I would say about a quarter to a third of that is actually renter or owner occupied. So then, over the course of a year to maybe 5 years, however long it takes to be able to get people on board with our Solar City initiative, we're going to be donating anywhere between $600,000 to $700,000 to Sauk Village to be able to help out its infrastructure and building. And that's something that we're really, really, really passionate about, giving back to the town, not just for our bottom line, but more so helping out the village. Another point our second point, I promise you, is going to be one of our last ones. Okay, we're going to be speaking to. I've had a conversation with Bo Christian. He represents WS Incorporated. I don't know. I'm sorry. Yeah, WS Incorporated. We're looking at 2 to 3 different properties in these southern suburbs to be able to bring our warehousing facility to. We're to whatever municipality that has us or has room for us. We're looking to bring over 150 jobs at the minimum to that municipality and to the surrounding area. For those who want to become installers, who want to be on the manufacturing side, or even solar sales individuals as well. So those who to be certified, we are certified through SREC, which is the nationwide verifier of solar providers as well. So we're looking to, I'm scheduling a site visit next week with Mr. Christian to look at the warehouse that's in Sauk Village, to potentially have our facility. We're looking for 50,000 square feet for our facility, and that has 800,000, so we would easily be able to block off our corner of that and be able to bring jobs to Sauk Village as well. So it's not just about the rebate incentive that's bringing back to Sauk Village, but also the jobs that we can be able to build in the infrastructure there. But then the final point is that we have a program that we're doing through the schools, where we're actually because we have an academy. It's called LEA, Light Engine Academy. Lumina Energy Academy, where we teach young individuals. It's called our Lantern program. Young individuals about solar energy and about renewable energy and clean tech energy, and be able to put them on a track towards technology. Because I was a person that grew up in Sauk Village, all that I ever knew that I could be was a basketball star and a rapper. So the fact that I'm actually a vice president of a solar tech company is just fantastic, and a testament to what God can do. But the fact that we can be able to come up and actually indoctrinate and teach children about, through our Lantern program, where we establishing a relationship with my alma mater, Blue Trail, and the school system here should be coming to agreement here. And just teaching and being involved in the community, establishing a solar city, empowering it far past any amounts of financial gain, but also building up this infrastructure to build up a tech incubator, so that people know that there's more to gain than just money from the municipality, but also teaching and bringing them up. So those are the 3 points that Lumina Energy is looking to offer and bring to Sauk Village. The rebate incentive, which is not a donation, is something that's given back to Sauk Village, whether for programs, for streets, for fire hydrants, whatever it may be. Those are finances that's given up to the discretion of the village. Then also given the warehouse potential, or wherever we may land, to be able to bring jobs and infrastructure jobs to Sauk Village, whether they be in sales, manufacturing or installation or anything of that nature. But then also our lantern program to be able to teach and bring up the next generation of solar professionals. I actually have it up, thank you so much. I actually have it up with the live, and you guys can be able to pass it around and show you exactly what it looks like. I wish I had a projector. Email it, because I cannot email this one because for this is a hypothetical. This is I found a random home in Sauk Village, and because I found a random home, this will be their information for this for their specific information. But I will be able to show. I'll be able to show you because we don't know who. This is just a house that we picked. So based off of the kilowatt hours, this particular home on 225th Street would have 96% offsets. So that means that 96% of their bill will be brought down. Okay, we're not here promising discounts or anything like that, because you're getting energy and electricity that's coming in from the sun and generating and giving back to the grid. 96% of your bill will be lower. Okay, the solar panels will be on two parts of the roof. One, please. I want to give you a live number of what the tax incentive is going to be. What Joe customer will be getting back from the government. $13,068, which is a real time. If I could, which is a real time number for this specific home. And then Illinois Shines comes in and actually breaks down that number as well. And if you need me to go back and show you what the solar panels look like, looking in the house, I will, if you need me to. Might be time. This is a real number for that home. Did you need me to go back and show you what the solar panels look like? Oh, sorry. So that top there's 13,000 that will be given back on the taxes. On top of what Illinois Shines will be given. The federal incentive will be given on top of that. Okay? No problem. Do you see with the trustee? Excellent. And do you see the solar panels? Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you see the solar panels? Just a final wrap up. A lot of questions are had about solar panels for the individual. Is to make sure, a lot of people have questions as to why, what happens to my electricity when the sun goes out or something like that. Because it's on a grid tie system, that you're always linked to ComEd no matter what. So as the sun goes down, ComEd comes in to compensate. I'll open to questions, but other than that, that's our presentation.
Okay, well, I want to first of all say, Mr. Posey, thank you so much for coming back to the community after you have left the community and coming back with an opportunity to give back to your community. I just want to say thank you very much for doing that. And we feel very grateful for that. And I see that what you're bringing, it will help. It will help the village dramatically. I just have a couple of questions. Questions I have. You're going to be selling this to private owners and the businesses if necessary, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And there's one word that I had to write it down, and I just wanted to know what you meant by that. You said it may buy back. When you say may, it opens up a lot of doors.
Absolutely.
So is it may, or is it actually ComEd will buy back in?
Okay. So the reason why I say may is because I'm in no way, shape, or form, because of the reason why we're certified through SREC, which is the nation's certification. We cannot promise anything. God forbid ComEd go under, but 99.9% of the time, should there be no solar energy that's coming into the home, ComEd will supplement that information, that energy back. But the only reason why I said may is because we don't, because ComEd may go under something.
Oh, so no, but it's dependent upon ComEd being this.
ComEd being the business,
Okay,
absolutely.
okay, that's
So,
what I said, man.
No, we don't get in the way of our partners at ComEd at all. We don't get in the way with them at all. If there's anything that's stopping them from bringing electricity to your home, that's a them issue, not us issue.
And then the next thing that piqued my interest, you're looking for a 50,000 square foot footprint, spec warehouse?
The reason why I say that is because our CEO has his heart set on a 50,000 square foot facility out in Maywood, Illinois.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and there have been some issues, and he has his heart set on it, but for me, he's on the technology side and I help to run the sales and the business side. So for me personally, I have some issues with the building only because there are currently $400,000 worth of liens on the property. So because there's $400,000 worth of liens on the property, it does not matter to me at all what we're getting for it on the short sale. Though we're planning to buy it in November, December for about $200,000 to $300,000. That extra added headache of $400,000, and which is adding every month in tax liens, is not attractive to me.
Okay.
So if I can be able to present him with different options before the board, and we can make a decision as a leadership team, that would be fantastic.
Please give him our number so we can talk, maybe we can find out what he's looking for, what we can present to him.
Absolutely. So the reason why so the CEO is in charge of the acquisition of the building is only because he's the tech side of things. So it's not just solar panels, but it's virtual power plants, ground mounts, arrays, and being able to be helpful to impoverished areas around the globe. We're establishing another market in the Dominican Republic, which experiences frequent power losses. So the fact that we can be able to have, we're experimenting out in Pembroke, Illinois, which is in Kankakee County, our ground mount that can be able to get solar in that's off the grid. That way it's off the grid, so that should the power go out in an impoverished country, we want to make sure that we're able to still provide power.
And the last question I have is, I ask all of the people I know that in solar panels. Does your company or the panels that you put actually run the electricity in the house, or do they store it and we get credit for it?
Okay, so the way that the solar panels work is that there's three components. There's a solar panel, there's a DC inverter, and then there's a Tesla Powerwall, which we have a partnership with Tesla Powerwalls. Yes, ma'am? With Tesla Powerwalls. So the power comes in through the solar panel, is converted into usable energy through the DC inverter, and then any excess of energy is put into the Powerwall, which acts like a battery. So you can be able to store that power and be able to sell it back to the utility if you need to, or store it for a rainy day, God forbid, the blinds are down and there's no sun.
So I'm just going to ask, are you saying that if the power goes out, we can use what we have left stored in the batteries to power the house for a while?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, I just want to make sure that I got that clear, because I heard what you said, and I'm just looking at it. Okay.
And once again, I'm saying this from a point where I cannot promise anything. God forbid, you have a rather unmalicious child and runs into the power plant, which is on the outside of the house, and completely breaks it. But that's a new issue. Not a
You're able to have stored energy. Whoever knows how long, like a battery backup or generator.
Absolutely.
And the power goes out, but it does happen here. And we can use that when we have stored, flip a switch or whatever, power out.
Absolutely. For this moment, we're doing residential, but then in the next 1 to 2 months, we're going to be doing commercial as well, and that can also be for the municipal building as well, but then also for businesses around Sauk Village as well. And when the businesses come in, the $600,000 that will be given to Sauk Village is going to jump exponentially because that number didn't count for the towns. That number didn't count for the businesses.
And then any questions? You have a question? Oh, that was a question. Trustee Williams?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thanks again for reaching out to us, Kevin. We really appreciate it. We're very proud of your success, and we appreciate you brought it back to Sauk Village. So I understand that you and the village manager have already been discussing, village administrator, have already been discussing potential sites
Yes,
for the
ma'am.
village. Okay, so thank you for working with him on that also. So what is the first step if we decide to move forward? What's our steps? What do we do?
Well, what's most important to me is that we understand that we're not in the business of locking you guys into any amount of contract that you work exclusively with Lumina Energy. The fact that with all the rewards that come with it, it will behoove you to work with us. So we'll draft up a memorandum of understanding that says that for every home that's signed up in Sauk Village through Lumina Energy, we're contracted to you to be able to make sure that that rebate incentive is kept in track of. It takes, once that home signs up, it takes 90 days for the incentive to go to the village. The next step would be, of course, once you deliberate and once you, of course, vote, would be to be able to hash out the memorandum that we're obligated to you and that you're not obligated to us, to be able to keep track of those numbers. But then you also are going to work with Lumina Energy.
But it's not exclusive.
It is not
Homeowners have a right to choose another solar.
at any point in time.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir.
Can landlords do that for rental properties also?
Absolutely. It does not have to be owner occupied, but it doesn't have to be owner occupied, it just has to be their property. And the only thing I would say to a landlord, if they were going to do that, is to make sure that you hash out your agreement with your tenant accordingly. Because there's going to be offsets, and once again, as a person who grew up in Sauk Village, my experience is that the majority of the landlords allow their tenants to pay for their own comment bill. So the only thing I would suggest is that they would, fluctuate that, because it's not going to be a jumping up and down. That 96% was an average for a year. So then you can be able to, charge them for whatever it is. So that's it. A landlord can 100% do that. If you breathe and own a home, you can do it.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I have another question.
Trustee?
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you. So once a homeowner decides to purchase the solar panel, is there an obligation of any kind? Can they discontinue it at any time, or is it?
Well, it's just like any other purchase. So if they decide to buy a solar panel, whether they decide to take out a loan or actually pay cash for it, whatever it is, their obligation is to whatever agreement that they took out to take out the product.
So they can always go back to their regular energy.
And if
They're
it
purchasing the solar panels, either flat out or lease program.
for the release program, which we actually, the minimum credit score for someone to actually pass a loan or something like that would be 650. Which
Just
is
might
not,
get it on the record. Thanks.
absolutely, yes ma'am.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So how do you plan on, marketing your energy? Are you plan on canvassing neighborhoods once we have an understanding? Do you just have the village to kind of assist in that process? It's kind of like what do you do for other towns that you're already in? I think that Brentwood was one town you're
Yes, sir.
already in. Can you just
All right.
give an example of what you do?
Yes, sir. So we are in no way, shape, or form ones that knock doors. We are SREC, trade company, and someone who's not going to go asking if you have a comment bill, not that it's any of my business, but I would not. So what we plan to do is going to be 3 tiers. So one, social media. What we do, our last, for our academy, got 50, within the first month, got 50,000 impressions. And if we'd be able to guide that towards Sauk Village, that's one. But of course, social media is an ambiguous term because it doesn't really convert that well. The second point is that one thing that we're doing for the village of Maywood is we're actually coming up with renewable energy forums. So clean energy forums wherein solar clean tech professionals as ourselves and anyone else within the village who has a voice or actually has questions about renewable green energy be able to come out and come out to these events. They'll be COVID friendly. They'll be live streamed on all platforms, and we'll be asking for the village cooperation and placing it on their pages, their Facebook, their Instagrams, and things of that nature. That way, we keep it COVID friendly and keep the space. Then also, we're making sure that we're getting the word out that people can. All they have to do is go to luminaenergy.com and then put in their address, put in their full address and a way to contact them. We're done. And then the third thing, of course, is the Lantern program. So the Lantern program, educating kids about renewable clean tech energy or just technology, period. Because we have a curriculum and working it through the school system, those kids end up being solar sales reps to their parents. So one thing we've definitely received we're seeing a lot of success with, is being able to not use the kids, but tell them about renewable green energy, and then tell the parents, and the parents go home with a little bit of collateral to be able to let them know about how they can be able to help them. Yes, sir.
You have a question? Kevin, we're looking forward to hearing from you as soon as we hear, and then also as far as the building is concerned, looking forward to working with your company and see if we can sell one of, and you said WSI has a large footprint, and I'm sure they can accommodate.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay, the next item, supplemental resolution. Did everyone get a copy of the supplemental resolution for the 21st Street Over project? Okay, what he's asking for is to have it, the supplement to include a $60,000 amount in the supplemental resolution just in case unexpected circumstances happen. Are there any questions on that?
I mean, this is just in case. This is not.
Yes, well,
I can't hear you back here.
The question was, so the question was, is it just in case, or is it just?
no, it's actually short.
So we'll be short 50,000.
It's short 14,000. However, Mr. Zornick is recommending 50,000 to cover any other unanticipated expenses.
That's on
If you
page
look
three.
at
Page 3, it says it exactly.
that's the email that he sent out to support that. The other documents were bids that took place and the actual financials that he provided.
Any other questions on that?
Mr. Mayor, as I understand this, he's asking for $36,000 more. Just in case.
Give us a mic, please.
No.
$36,000 more just in case.
Yeah.
It exceeds 14,000 and then he wants
50.
50,000, so, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, Madam President, so on the agenda to be voted on next week. Referendum or ordinance to place the question of public policy on the April 6, 2021 ballot, requesting legal voters in the village of Saukville to determine whether the village pursue its own United States Post Office zip code. I think that's kind of self-explanatory. You're going to ask.
Mr. Mayor, I would still like to talk to him because this is what I suggested to go on, and it's also my recommendation that we look at that. So I would like to first provide just a little justification of why we need our own zip code. Right now, 60411 covers about 5 different villages. And initially, 60411, when it discussed Sauk Village, we came up as Sauk Village. You know, like when it was time for us to make online purchases or any business that had to be transacted where Sauk Village is concerned, it was listed. It no longer is anymore. Now, all of the 60411 has the city listed as Chicago Heights. And I have found that just recently, I've had to certify some of our residents' addresses because for whatever reason, they had to show proof that they lived in the village of Sauk Village and not Chicago Heights, because items that come to their home a lot of times has Chicago Heights on it. So this is just the beginning of us having you know, to justify that Sauk Village is Sauk Village. And I know that there are a couple other villages aren't doing the same thing in terms of presenting a referendum so that we can acquire our own zip code. So that is why I thought that it is time that we reach out and try to get our own as well. I have communicated with the attorneys already, and they stated that they would assist with the ordinance once we talk about it here, and if you decided that it's something well worth venturing into. So that is why I'm bringing it to the board now so that I can make the determination whether or not we should move forward with this project. It is uncertain if petitions will need to be signed, but our attorney will be researching that and getting back to me. And if that is the case, we would want all of this to be ready to go at least by November 3rd election, because then I think we could get a lot of signatures on petitions at that time.
Okay, well, what I want to say is the referendum that it has to be voted on by the board and then presented, so that's all, that's what it was said. Trustee Williams, you hear something?
Yes, I did. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know we've tried to do this in the past. Has anybody talked to the post office to see what the parameters are for establishing your own zip code? Because at one time you had something to do with the size of your community, the households, or something to that effect. I don't remember.
I've not done that.
Okay, so I think, personally, I think it's a great idea, because I know we've explored this before, but I would like to see what the post office has as far as, I know that there's some requirements in order to get a zip code. That's why we're going together with Chicago Heights. So if we could, I don't know, is it soon enough, is there enough time to get it on the November 3rd ballot? But I would reach out to the post office first.
No, it's not.
Oh, I thought I heard you say
No,
by November
I was
3rd.
saying if we needed signatures on a petition,
Right.
then it would be good to have the petitions ready to go for the November the 3rd
Yes.
election.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
That's okay.
So, yes, I totally agree, but would you mind checking with the post office to see
I
if
will
there's any
check with the
requirements?
police and police. With
Okay, okay.
But then I would still like to make a recommendation that we consider putting it on next week's agenda so that you can vote whether or not I should move forward with the needed research to make it all happen.
Provided the post office doesn't stop.
That's doing the research.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Thank you.
So you want to vote on it to move forward to next week?
Yes.
Maybe, is there any other questions? We're going to move forward to put it on the agenda. The next one is community code estimate for agreement for supplemental number 2 to code of ordinances.
Yes, sir. I will be addressing that one also. In your packet is an email that was sent to me by Unicode. Now, I know that this quote is not the most professional looking document. And I'm certain that by the time we move into agreement with them, we will have something that is more suitable for signature and everything. However, the content of it will not change. And so, therefore, if we move forward by November the 1st, we will realize a $400.70 discount. But the total estimate would be $3,626.30. Unicode, this is so that our ordinances are recodified. And this would only be looking at codifying the year 2019. The company has all of those ordinances already, so they're just waiting for us to agree, and then they will start their process.
Any questions?
Is there a chance for us to do 2020, some of the ones we've done so far, or no, probably not?
Generally, it's something you codify once a year. And so that is one reason why they had not received all of 2019, because we were waiting. And then when we waited to the beginning of the year, then that's when the pandemic struck and there was no continuity to when we met, when we approved ordinances or anything along that line. However, it is in the budget.
Trustee Williams?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Do we remember how much we budgeted for codification? No, that was my first
It
question.
was more than
That's what I thought.
$3,626.
Good, because, so all of ordinances through 2018 are fully codified?
Oh, that's been done.
Okay, so we're starting with 2019. I agree with Trustee Grant, that was going to be my question. Since we're recodifying, if there's enough money in the budget to move forward with more in 2020, because if we don't have up-to-date ordinances that residents can reach out to, if they get a ticket and the old ordinance is still available, then we can't really hold them to the ticket.
Well, the beauty of us having a website is not only do we codify, which helps us to keep a record of any changes, amendments, revisions to previous ordinances, but our actual ordinances are on the website as well.
I kind of recall 5,000 or 6,000 in the budget, I'm not really sure. I was just suggesting, like Trustee Grant, if we can use up the budgeted amount, because we probably won't be recodifying anytime soon before the next budget.
I think that there was approval, and correct me if I'm wrong, Trustee Todd, that we would allot funds in the budget every year for codification.
Right.
Because when we recodified in 2018, we had to do a 5-year span, and that was very costly. And they just, the trustees said they did not want to ever have to expend that type of money ever again. But to address your stating, why can't we just do what we can? Well, we really don't have that many ordinances that has been approved for 2020 at this point. So it really wouldn't be cost effective to piecemeal it. It's better just, I think, now this is just me, I think that it's better to wait for the entire year and then move forward with codification for that year. But you know, as I said, that's just me thinking.
I think we talked about, because we do it yearly, but you can also do it quarterly. I would suggest doing quarterly. I don't know if it's cheaper to do that. Is this for the year? That, so it's like, you're talking $3,600. What I suggest, maybe try to do quarterly so that you keep up with it. But that's really up to the board. I mean, if you want to do it for the year, but I think we talked about it one time quarterly. Do it every quarter.
We've talked about that in previous years also. It's always been a money factor. But I'm saying if it's in the budget and we can sneak a quarter in there or two, personally, I agree with you. I'd like to move forward with as much as we can get updated by quarter.
Okay, so then my question is, can we move forward, put this year on the agenda so that we can vote on it, move forward with this, and then I communicate back with the company to look at a quarterly rate? Is that satisfactory? Okay, so once I have those, I'll bring those figures back to you as well. Thank you.
Okay, will this be on the next agenda?
Yes. Thank you.
Next item is a resolution approving intergovernmental and recipient agreement for coronavirus relief funds between Cook County and the Sauk Village. Does everyone get a resolution for that? Are there any questions on that?
Mr. Mayor, do we have any idea how much will be allotted to us?
I think it's 580, I'm sorry, $537. If we get it all, yes.
But that's based on the receipts and stuff that we've been doing.
Well, it's really based on the thing on how much of that will we receive. I mean, it's been allotted, but it's actual, we won't find that out until we actually, put in for it and see. I mean, we're gonna try to put in for the whole amount. How much will they give us? That's a $64,000 question. Are there any questions on that aspect? Yes, Trustee Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I see in here that this runs through December 30th, so we still have ongoing, we're continuing to keep all of the expenses through the end of
Absolutely.
December of this year.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
So we will put this, we need to move for this resolution so we can, have it in place. They're probably asking if we have a resolution in place. And the next item is the resolution approving intergovernmental agreement for the revision of environmental health and inspectional services. Are there any questions on that? Trustee?
Question, Mr. Mayor. So, the third one down, the third whereas the county is a home rule unit. I was going to say that, should it? I'm
The
sure,
county is a home rule unit.
So, actual county.
The county, yes. We do this every year. This is when the county comes in and they take care. We don't have the personnel to do health inspections. So we put that emphasis on them and we pay them for it. And we get our money back or try to get their money from the inspection that they do, which we do quite often. And so their money is recovered from the business.
I just want to note that it's still $100, that hasn't changed. I remember that.
When they go up, we go up. We're just not gonna, right now, it's what they're charging us.
Correct.
Is there any other questions? If not, we put that on the agenda for next week's vote. Next item is the resolution approving the contractual subscriptions with Paylocity. I don't have, all I have is the resolution. Oh, you have. Oh. Well, here's the resolution. Oh, you? Okay. Did everyone get the resolution and the actual quote? Is there any questions?
There's also an agreement. You have that.
I have the quote, and I have the agreement.
That's it.
Any questions?
Mr. Mayor, when we did, whoever read this resolution, I would like to see something there.
We can't hear you back there.
I would like to see something in there that emphasized that they should have more communication between the velocity and the staff, because I know there was a problem that they couldn't get answers, they couldn't get anybody on the phone. So we need to emphasize to velocity that we need contact. So we need to put some kind of language in there saying, I know they think it might be required, but the former ones that we had just didn't respond to us in a timely fashion. So that should be one of the things that we need to really put in the resolution, that they need to respond to us whenever we have questions.
Resolution or contract?
Well, I think the contract already set up, if we put it in the resolution and, if we put it in both, that's good. That needs to be emphasized more.
You were when they did the presentation, right?
I'm sorry, but,
You were here when they did the presentation?
yes, I was.
And they asked that exact same question?
And he said yes, but I think it needs to be put in writing. He said yes, they would, try to do better, but what does that mean? We need to put something more,
So you wanted it writing in the contract? We just put the resolution. Do you want, you're asking to have the contract stipulate?
I don't know the exact language that we should use, but I think it should be some kind of language because we're not getting the feedback from the prior, company that we used to do, so I want to avoid that kind of situation and make sure that, they have to respond to us. They have to give us some information.
Well, it says here, Paylocity will provide customer support from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., excluding weekends, and they'll make available to the client all improvements, enhancements, and modifications to its services, methods, and software as they generally available by Paylocity. Paylocity will use due care in processing clients' work. Are you trying to say that they don't do something that's a penalty? Is that what you're trying to do?
Well, something of that nature, even emphasize this more strongly, what it should be, because of the payroll situation, they couldn't get answers to it. So we could go with this language, and they wind up doing the same thing the other company did, and we never got any answers to anything. So,
as you just stated, the other company, that's why you're doing this, is because what the other company did do.
well, I just want to emphasize that they do.
But I think the lawyers looked this over, but I don't know if they can change their.
Just a suggestion.
Okay. Trustee Tyler? I think that is. Oh, Trustee Williams? Oh, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In section 2 of the resolution, it says the village board hereby approves and accepts the subscription agreement. And this is the subscription agreement that the mayor just read from. And it stipulates in there that there will be customer service support between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. So that's there in their agreement.
That's what they had last time.
Well,
the other company.
It's in here, and they agree, and we agree by resolution that we will have customer service support from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So I wasn't sure if you realized that section 2 actually approves this agreement, and it's stated in there. I mean, it's up to us to hold them to their agreement. If not, we have within 60 days to cancel and go somewhere else. So I'm fine with agreeing, to the resolution.
Okay, well then, we'll put this on the agenda. It has to be on the agenda for next week, so if you have any further questions, let us know. Don't let us know Monday. Let us go ahead of time. Pardon me?
On the time clock service.
I don't know exactly what it means, but I'm pretty sure they're not gonna use their other equipment yet, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna bring their own equipment. That's part of the call. Any other questions? All right. We'll put this on the agenda also, we vote on next week. The next one is Halloween hours trunk or treat. All right, I asked the clerk to put this on the agenda. They asked the board, first things first. Halloween. I'm gonna, poll the board, ask the board, are they okay, is the board okay for having Halloween this year in the village? Trustee Brewer?
Depends on the activity.
Halloween.
I know, what are we gonna do, a party, or are we gonna do trunk or treat, how are we gonna do
I
that?
didn't get the trunk or treat yet.
Yeah, so,
I'm just talking
I don't
about
know.
trick or treat for an individual for a home.
Yeah. Oh, for home, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, and your answer?
Well, yeah, I'm fine with it, it's their house.
Trustee Tyler? Trustee Grant?
Yes.
Trustee Bell? Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Okay. Now, that being said, I think, I get this wrong every year, I think it's from 4 to 7, but now you gotta understand the kids aren't physically in school. I don't know what time they get out. Oh, that's right, it is a Saturday. Is anybody, I'm looking at the same time, 4 to 7, or do you want to shorten it to 4 to 6? Anybody have any ideas on that? Okay, well then we can leave it at 4 to 7. Okay, so that'll be 4 to 7. Okay. And now trunk or treat. Trunk or treat is something that's optional. You know how we run it, we put it out there at the community center. I don't see a problem, it is controlled. The kids come, we can distance. What we will do is make sure everybody that's involved in that has to have a mask on. And we'll have to get some kind of signage out there so that everyone comes in a Halloween mask does not constitute a mask. Even though you got a Halloween mask on, they have one on, they need a regular mask that everyone that participates in, especially the ones that are doing the passing out, they should have masks on, you know. So I have no problem with trunk or treat. I think it's something that the kids really, really like. If it's in clinic, I'm not looking to try to have it inside. That's defeating the purpose. Well, we'll have to deal with it if it gets to that point of raining out there. Hopefully it's not, and we can do it. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think we started at 1 o'clock. Anybody remember? You got the parade, right? Okay. Okay, well then we do 11:30. And then we'll just do 11:30, and then have everybody out there. We have time to go over the logistics. We'll start at 11:30 a.m. for the truck. And all those that would like to get involved, please let us know ahead of time so we can know how many cars we're going to have and how we're going to give us an overflow. Is there any questions on that?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
thank you. Are we going to do the parade from Rickover to the community center, or are you going to do just the trick or treat, the trunk or treat? Because we used to walk from Rickover to the community center, but that would involve a lot of social distancing.
Yeah,
You have to
I know
be
that.
6 feet apart.
Yeah, the line would be from here to there with 3 kids. I mean, you're right.
So we're not doing the parade, we're just going to do the trunk or
Just
treat.
to do the trunk or treat.
Okay. That's what I was thinking, but also I just want to interject that the library is having a program during that exact same time. So some of the kids are going to be conflicted where to go, because the library program is from 11 to 2, and they have a lot of activities going on at the
Oh,
library.
you're going to be inside?
No, at the library? No, they're going to be outside. So I just wanted to make you aware of it before we come up with a time, that their program lasts for 3 hours from 11 to 2. It's going to be outside. And if we have a function here and they have a function there, then kids are going to be torn between the two.
And yours going to be on Saturday too?
I'm not the library anymore.
No,
This one here, 11 to 2 on Saturday the 31st. Yes. So I wanted to make you aware of it before you carve this in stone, that this has already been circulated from the library. And since trick-or-treating starts at 4, maybe we can start ours at 2. It's up to you. If you want to continue at noon,
I mean,
I'm just
the trunk or
saying.
treat is basically you go through and then they can, just like we do with the Easter egg hunt. I mean, they leave here and go to 2 other places. So I'm thinking that, they can leave here and still go to the library, or do they have to be at the library at that time and they can't get in after that? That's what I don't know.
The library, I will bring it up now since you're asking. The library has a full day of activities, starting at 11. There's a special guest at 12. There's a photo booth. There's candy, and there's also you have to actually get a reservation because of the social distancing, and because it's going to be outside. They're only going to allow so many in at a time, from what I understand. So this is what I'm saying. It's kind of a 3-hour event because they have to allow for social distancing. It's not like all the children could be at the back of the library at one time.
Okay, so what you're saying, okay, my question would be, if the child gets there at 1, can they still get in?
At the library?
Yes.
It says here, every household will be scheduled 7 minutes apart, and they have to call a certain number to reserve a slot. So what I'm saying is, you might get children that are scheduled for 12:30, 1 o'clock or whatever at the library, and they might not want to leave the library just to come trunk or treat.
So they can stay in the library from 11 to 2.
They can, I don't know, I just got this today. What it says here, that they have a timed entry schedule to pace each household every 7 minutes. I'm not saying that they stay there, I'm saying some kids may be scheduled during the time that we're having our trunk or treat and may not get here for the trunk or treat. So you have an option of either keeping it at noon and having both events running at the same time, or doing the village event at 2, and that way no children will be.
The reason why they want to do the village event at 2 is because if we're having trick or treat at 4, those people that are doing trunk or treat have to go back home. And so that's why I was having to.
Split the difference, 1 o'clock. I'm playing devil's advocate.
Okay, but if we do it at 12, they come through, and if they can leave there at, 12 and go to the library, but you said at the library, they have to have a certain time, they just can't, they have to be pre-registered basically. So therefore, they should know what time they pre-registered. They pre-registered at 12 o'clock or 12:30, they can get here at 12 and then still make theirs by 12:30 because we're not going to have a parade. So if they, because leaving here, unless they're not going to, they have to be at the library, you have to pre-register. So, if they pre-register, then they should kind of know what time they're going to be. So I would keep it at 12. And if they're there at 11 o'clock and they don't make it here by 12, but I don't want to move this back and then have people try to get home and take care of, trick or treaters when they get there at 4 o'clock. So.
Can I make one other suggestion?
Sure.
9?
Who?
Us?
Yeah.
9 o'clock trunk or treat?
9 o'clock in the morning?
Yes, in the morning.
No.
I just made a suggestion.
I don't see the kids get up at night. I'm outside. I shouldn't say that. But, let's keep it at 12, and those that come, those that cannot. But they have to register for yours, so that's another thing. So a lot of them may not know that they have to do that. So we can leave it at 12.
Are we doing like 12 to 2 or?
Well, yeah, we shut off at 2. There you go. Good. Okay. So we go from 12 o'clock to 2. And trick or treat will be from 4 to 7. Okay, Comcast cable contract. Okay, I spoke to Mr. Yonan in regards to the contract. It's self-explanatory. They will be charging, I'm hearing that it's the community center and village hall. They used to not be charged, they will be charged. Cable service, so. And he vowed that, whatever programs we have, they would try to, Comcast would try to get involved and help us out. We're going to see about that one too. So this is the new contract. Are there any questions on that? Yes.
You said community center and village hall.
No, the community center and village hall, yes.
So, is that like what, $150 a month, $200 a month?
Whatever basic cable was, I don't know, but they'll be charged, and I'm gonna have to find out what it is that, because we weren't charged, so I don't know how much it's going to be.
And so what we get in return is they'll possibly sponsor some kind of building.
They claim that they give us $113,000 a year in franchise. 113, yeah. So, he said the legislation made it possible for them to charge, and that's why they charge the municipality building, the actual physical building. Trustee Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I thought there was 4 locations.
I didn't, he told me when he was you charge, so the other one.
Because Public Works in the mayor's office is also getting charged.
That's Village Hall.
Fire station,
That's
community
Village
center.
Hall. I'm just telling you what he has on his
But
roll.
I think we pay for a couple of them already. There's some that we pay for currently.
I think we paid for the fire station, and I think we paid for, the senior center, because I've seen that on the bill before, so. Any other questions?
Seems like we should get a discount, senior center and the police station, and I want to add really what time to do some kind of discount.
As I stated, I talked with Mr. Jones the other day, and his suggestion was, well, you can take it out of your franchise. Okay. Okay. We'll put that on the agenda for next week. The next one is RFP for inspection. Anybody have anything for that? You have something?
It was just, I wanted, anybody have any updates, any questions? We were talking about this for a while. We finally got it back from the attorney. I wanted the trustees to look at it, any changes you wanted to make, or any questions you had, we can move forward.
Did you turn it?
I emailed it to everybody also.
Oh, you eat, oh, okay, it's not,
I think the clerk took it out yesterday.
okay. So you want that, is that, are you asking to have it, to have it voted on?
No, sir. It's giving us permission to do so. I just wanted to make sure if there were any questions or any changes that the board wanted.
Okay.
There's still time to do so.
Mr. Herkes, going forward, would you please do me the honor of, when there are things to go to the trustee that's going to go in their meeting packets, can you just give it, okay? Okay, I'm sorry, I don't remember that because I didn't put that in their packet. So in the future, going forward, because we got too many little hiccups here today, and it's discomforting to my soul. So in the future, what we will do,
Memo it, so you know to put it on the packet.
right, no, I won't just put it in the packet. I won't email it to them unless it's too late. So then that way, everything that they have and that I have is all together in one place and not scattered. Okay? Thank you.
Okay, the next item is review for revised position ordinance. This is the ordinance creating positions for finance director, assistant finance director, payroll specialist, assistant chief of administration, fire department, and public works director. This is something that the board has asked for, to have an ordinance for these positions.
Shouldn't this be an amendment?
Pardon me?
We're amending the ordinance.
Correct. It should be-
Right, this,
It should be an amendment.
it says ordinance, you're right, it should say, well,
Because we've added public works director, so this should be an amendment.
Right.
but the public works never had one.
No, what I'm trying to say is we voted on this last week, but the only thing
Oh, I
missing
see
was
what
the
you're
public
saying.
works, so
So you're
this,
right, public, this,
yeah, it means
okay,
this needs to be amended.
okay, so then that means the ordinance needs to say amending,
Right.
and we have to let the lawyers.
Or you could just have a simple public works amendment.
Well,
Instead of public
you
works
added-
ordinance.
What you did, you added the public works director onto the board.
I understand that, but instead of amending it, you just have a separate ordinances for public works. Either
Well,
way,
right now, you have this one.
either way works. We had to change it.
Or
either way.
I can just type in the word amendment. The title. I just type in amendment.
Question, Mayor.
Just the one side. I didn't say that.
Mr. Herkes, is there any other positions that we need to add to this? I know we kind of went back and forth for, all these positions. Is there any other position that you think we need to include?
I'm not exactly sure. I'm sure something's gonna pop up. If I say no, I guarantee you something's gonna pop up and say, yeah, let's add this. So at this point in time, as a snapshot, is with the board, no, there's no other orders that we believe are needed, but for sure, as sun's gonna rise tomorrow, we're gonna find something that someone's gonna wanna have ordinance. But at this time, I don't see anything.
Trustee Williams?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This was brought up in executive session that that was one position that we weren't sure whether or not it was a code book. So we did ask the attorneys to look forward to see if this one or any others. So I totally think that there may be others coming forward. And I think that it might be easier if we just, like you said, do an amendment to ordinance number, whatever ordinance number you assigned to the previous ordinance, and bring this up to speed. Which means, well, if we find any other positions, then there'll be an amendment to this ordinance. It's probably the easiest way to do it. But we're still looking, I think the attorney is still looking into, is there any other positions? Because we're basically doing housekeeping right now. That's my understanding.
Any other questions? Okay, the next item is hydrants and tree cutting. Everyone receive the email from Loretta Tyler? Everyone gets that email and what it states on here? And they're telling us that the union is stating that they will only okay 20 hydrants. So I don't know what that means, so we just wondering when we're gonna get penalized. I'm not understanding that. We don't have anything here about the trees, but I'm sure Kevin didn't tell me, but then again, nothing here except that this she gave the reasons why and all this, which I didn't understand that either.
I emailed her today, actually, to get an update about the trees.
Okay, because even the thing that how she wrote this up is that, and it didn't make sense, but, okay. Because
So with the hydrants, Mayor, is that I talked to the engineer today, and he'll have the bid package put together in about 2 weeks, put it out. It'll take 2 weeks to advertise to get some bids back, and in about a month, we'll be able to, hopefully, if everything goes well, open bids for the hydrant project.
okay.
Question.
In a perfect world.
So, I'm gonna do the project for the 20 fire hydrants, or I'm gonna do the project for up to the $140,000, I think $100,000 that we decided we would use to fix hydrants and trees. Like, I don't know what you're gonna be doing.
Can't
Is
hear you.
there a certain number of hydrants, or is there a dollar amount?
So we'll get the engineer's estimate, and then we can find out exactly where we're at. So once he gets the bid package put together, he'll give us an estimate of what he thinks the 20 hydrants would cost, and then we can work our way from that point.
So even with the 20, fixing those 20, we still have another, I'm gonna say 40, 50 that needs to be fixed. And from my understanding, they're fixing them now, correct? They're fixing them right now, Public Works?
No.
I'll just say yes, but they'd love to if they had the time, if they had extra manpower to do so. So their goal is to continue working on hydrants what they can. Like the one hydrant on Galen, they opened that up finally to get that fixed, and they found they had a wrong size pipe for the valve. So they are working forward. They're trying to do the hydrants as they go along, but this will allow us to do a bigger project on the hydrants. So yes, they're working, hopefully whenever they have time to get into the hydrants.
Trustee Bell?
The hydrants are spread out all over town, it's not just a certain part.
That's correct.
Trustee?
So again, piggybacking off of Trustee Grant, so we're looking at $140,000, but we're going out to bid. So we're not going to obligate ourselves to the repair of 20 fire hydrants in case it goes over 140, right? We're just going to see basically what we can work with within the 140 and within the 20.
Correct. So the Public Works has agreed to allow us to move forward with this. But there was a certain number that we originally had was 15, and maybe 20 just in case there was a gap there. And we're able to move forward and get this project moving forward and going forward. So there's going to be some number changes. There's no doubt. They're not going to, I guarantee it's not going to be 20. Right? $140,000, we were talking about 100, and now we're at 140. So the numbers are going to change. Let's see where we get the engineer's estimate for the 20, and then we can work our way into this before we.
So it could be 20 or less, but it's gonna be capped at 20 in order to go along with
To
it.
do, to appease the project that they requested, yes, ma'am.
Mr. Mayor, to clarify a little bit on the projects, the $140,000 is basically for the tree cutting.
Can't hear you.
It's basically for the tree cutting, and that if things work out, we would only use 3, the repairs for 3. And Robinson Engineering, if not mistaken, they said they wanted 17. That was their bottom line. And then we came up with 3 more in case, we need cost overruns or something like that. But the rest of the money was supposed to be spent for tree cutting. Basically, we were going to get the 20 trees done for $100,000. That's the way I understand it.
20 hydrants.
20 hydrants, yeah.
So
And then everything else is supposed to be for the tree cutting.
So we have 2 different funds. One was $100,000, it was in the budget for the hydrants, and $140,000 was from CN, that they agreed to via contract to do the tree removals. Or hydrants, if you wanted to use that money for whatever you wanted to use it for. Nothing has been obligated yet to either one of them taken from those funds, but there's 2 pots of funds that we have earmarked for hydrants and for trees.
But I didn't know there was a certain amount of trees. I didn't know that was capped at. I didn't see
We haven't got to the amount of trees yet. We just,
I didn't see anything that said.
it's gonna be a little bit of work with the union and getting, the village wants, and I'm sure it's gonna be the size of the trees.
Absolutely.
They're gonna have to contract out the bigger trees, which having a company come in and do, and then letting our public work guys continue to do the smaller trees and the things that are more manageable.
Okay.
So, we're gonna start with the hydrants first and try to get all those things before the weather sets in. And this is a safety issue, so.
It's a safety issue, I understand, and yes, they can work during the winter.
Okay.
They can do the hydrants
So
during the
you're gonna
winter.
get
Yeah, they made that very clear, the engineer said, there's no time frame because of the weather.
Okay.
We'd like to have it done this fall, but it's gonna take a little bit of time to get the bid package together, a little bit of time to get the bids out and returned, and then we can move forward.
As long as we get something done.
All right, then, thank you so much. Chief, I think he's coming up for the Motorola StarCam.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Village Board. If I can, you guys can hear me now?
Yes.
It's okay. Okay, I wanted to give the board an update concerning the Motorola and Starcom radio system. First off, the resolution that you moved forward with both earlier this year, the Starcom application approval process we've completed, and we've been approved for the Starcom to move to the Starcom system through the state. The main reason for the update tonight is because the original proposal presented from Motorola was credit pending. So that original proposal, as you recall, stated that we would not have to put any money down, and we would immediately start the 5 payments next July. Unfortunately, once the whatever issues or system they put the village through, they could not maintain that offer. What they could do, they still wanted to finance us, so it's not like, oh, well, you guys got bad credit, we can't do the deal. they still want to finance us, but what they need is half upfront in order to finance. So what you would end up doing is we would have to pay half to place the order, and then once the order is placed, you'll have 5 payments, which of course would be much smaller. They were reduced down to like 17 or 18,000. In fact, if you look in your packet, I have an amended version of it under the top page was Motorola Solutions.
We don't have that.
Oh, okay. So I'll talk you through it.
Okay.
Basically, when I sat and met with them, I was able to cut us a better deal, where before it was, I believe, 165 or 170,000. We were able to get it down to the same amount, same quality radio, down to 141,000, which means we would have to come up with $70,000, roughly $900 up front. So I know it seems like a big number, but what I did was I did look at the situation that we were in. We compared what we already had going on with the budget, and again, the reason why I'm before the board is I met with the director of Calcom and the past director and discussed infrastructure improvements and what they had structurally in the agreements. They had none, which was kind of odd to me, but still. But what they did say was that we may be able to, Calcom would be able to front the down payment for us so that we can move forward with it. And then we could repay them spread across our normally monthly contributions. So right now, we normally pay around $23,000 a month contribution to Calcom. If we took that $70,000 and spread it across a year, or 2 years, or a year and a half, you would increase our payment monthly by anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000. That way, it cushions the blow. We're able to move forward on the right timetable before the licenses expire at the end of January. So what I'm asking the board for is basically permission to negotiate that deal with Calcom. I'm assuming we'll have to do another resolution for that agreement with them, because it's kind of an agreement with another agency for that. So instead of us paying the $70,000 out of the current budget, it would basically be financed. Well, not really financed, because they did not discuss any type of charge. It was simply paying back our contribution for them having fronted the $70,000.
Question.
I go before. Calcom said they would, I guess, pay the $70,000. Did they say was there interest on that, or?
Well, that's why I'm requesting the ability from the board to negotiate that. They did not mention interest. In fact, it had never been done before. As some of you know, I was on the original board for ECOM when it first started. Each town in ECOM has a running total from their old Network 3 budget where they pull funds from for radios, for infrastructure and stuff like that. The dispatch center itself keeps a running tally, but it's basically a capital improvement fund that every town has inside of that entity. For whatever reason, when they set up Calcom, they did not do that. And so since they didn't do that, there had to be some other way that when some of these towns run into an issue like what we have right now, where it would have such a severe impact on our budget, that we would be able to feasibly make the transition so that we do not disrupt service.
Trustee Branch?
Yeah, Chief, Was Starcom the contract that said that we didn't have to make a payment for a year? Was that
No, Starcom is the system, the channel that's available to us through the state. That process has already been complete, we've already been approved. This is the separate contract, what you're talking about is the Motorola contract, because we have to upgrade our radios.
Gotcha. And yeah, the mayor asked my other question about interest on the 70,000, but I guess we'll work that out.
Yeah, I would be inclined to say, I can't speak for them, but because we contribute just like every other town and we have to make that move, I don't see, I can't talk to as to whether or not they'll charge interest.
Chief, are you going to negotiate on behalf of ESDA also for the radios?
The Starcom channel it's a different level. What they're going to do is there'll be a link to whatever radio system that ESDA is on, so that we can communicate with them also.
Right, now, the 20 whatever $1,000 you're talking about contribution, is that PDs and fires or just PDs?
The village's contribution to Calcom monthly is roughly around 24,000, 24,000, something like that every month. It's generated from the 911 funds and stuff like that. Goes towards that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. How much was allowed in the budget for the radios? And is there another fund that we can get the money from ourselves?
So here's what's going to happen. And when they presented the last, whatever budget was published, they had listed $80,000 radios coming out of the DEA fund, but that's not what was presented. So I don't know if you remember our discussion when we were doing our budget hearing and when I did my presentation. It was an understanding that we need cars, and I would have to rely on the DEA budget to do that with the cars that we have, trying to maintain them and at least purchasing at least one car a year. If we've already committed to the body cams, which was well over $30,000 plus the system upgrade, if we try and pull this $70,000 to $80,000 out for the radios, there's no way we would be able to get any vehicles, and it will have been drained to the point to where we would have a hard time maintaining our 5-year commitment. Now, the reason I say that is, even though we've been averaging between, I don't know, 70 to 85,000 every year from the DEA, you have to understand that because of COVID, the court systems have at one point shut down, but now they've slowed. All of these funds, it's feast or famine. This is all money that is tied up in courts. We could get, it trickles in. It depends on which case you have. It's not like it's a replenishing account like with the village, where every year you budget for this. This all is literally depending on whether or not these court cases are won. It's just consistently we've had good cases over the years, but because the courts have slowed, the money has now slowed. So it's too hard to predict. And if we're going to commit and do our fiduciary duties and our due diligence on these contracts and agreements, we have to kind of look down the road. That's why I started to look for other methods of getting this done without utilizing that, even if we have to go back and request a budget amendment to get it done. Because if we do that, there's no way we'll be able to afford cards and keep up with our commitment to the body cam program.
Is there a time frame that we need to get back to the Motorola for this information?
It has to be right away. It's going to take between 60 to 90 days to get the radios ordered and programmed and get all the bugs out of the system before that license expires on January 31st.
Mr. Mayor, it sounds like it's something that he needs to negotiate quickly and come back to us with.
Yeah.
That is correct.
We're definitely going to do. And I'm ask them, I'm trying to see, I'm sitting here running through trying to see if we can get any COVID money for that. I don't know if it's eligible, but we're gonna have to see if we can use some of that because that may fall in that purpose.
Can't hear you back here.
I said we're gonna try to see if we can use some of the COVID money from the, if it's COVID eligible. And, we'll see, you know, if that can, we can get that from, some of the money from there. But then again, that being said, who knows how long that's gonna take? Because he needs to be able to have it okay right now, so I'm sure we got to sit down and talk to CalCom, which is, over there, Cal Park is there,
Mayor Denson.
Mayor Denson, and then we can, you know, find out what it would take. If you're right, we've never gotten anything over the years from CalCom to give us any incentive, anything other than they didn't go up with 1% or whatever. So the whole time it was never nothing that was ever given back or we got anything from CalCom for that reason. So maybe that's something that we have to sit down and we can negotiate with. But we, like you said, we need to have something sooner than later. So we have to bring it back to the board, have an update in every meeting to find out where we're at, and I mean, that's not a problem, we can do that. Yes, Trustee Lee.
Two suggestions. Number one, if you're able to talk to CalCom and come back to us by next Tuesday, maybe at a special meeting before the board meeting.
Yes.
Just if you have an offer, if you have something you could bring to us, that perhaps we can vote at the regular meeting. That's one suggestion. Number two, what the mayor just said was, I don't think we've ever realized any type of rebate from CalCom, because when we first started with CalCom, they were supposed to give us like a decrease in our monthly bill if they added more municipalities onto the service. And I know that they have. So I'm hoping that somebody is paying attention to, have we ever realized any type of cost savings when they increased those municipalities? I know you weren't here when CalCom first came on, but the deal was we were the first ones to go with CalCom, and as they added more municipalities, we would see a cost savings. Now, I don't know if the cost savings is washed out with the fact that we haven't been increased over the years, but the mayor raised a very good point. I don't see the cost savings when they add municipalities. So you might want to remind Mayor Denson that we know that that's a
Something that uses leverage. I understand.
Trustee Bell.
Can this also be used as a bargain chip with another dispatch center? Like, I mean, I know when Buzz talked to us one time, and we were trying to steer clear of that one, but they talked about county, and you guys pay for our radios. And I don't know if Sauk or these other ones offer that.
Yeah, so what they were talking about was part of the UASC grants. Early on, when these dispatch centers were first formed, literally the radios that we're trying to get right now, because of the UASC grant through the county, and because those towns signed on through their dispatch centers, they received those radios for free. Literally, they didn't pay anything for them. So that was back 2009. So it was well before you had signed on with any type of compliance dispatch center. The other huge issue is our CAD system. We have to be strategic. Unfortunately, we've changed CAD systems like 5-6 times in the last 12 years, and trying to manage records, just trying to retrieve records from not just criminal, but also civil cases over the years has been a task. You have to understand that every time you change a CAD system, you have to continue to pay that vendor a subscription fee to have access to get those records. So here we are with 4 CAD systems later, and we're still having to pay these other 3 vendors, and we'll have to continue to pay them. So we're trying to avoid switching CAD systems too. So it's real limited where we could actually go where it would be in our best favor. So it's almost like, and like I tell the officers, you know, these are our tax dollars. We need to make them work. It's a service that we pay for. We need to maximize it and hold them accountable, hold their feet to the fire. Because this is your money. So,
All right, any other questions? Okay, we'll be looking forward to an update. As soon as we get it, then we'll pass it on.
thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, board, for your time.
Thank you, Chief.
Mr. Mayor? I didn't hear you say, move forward with the first project. The first project they had for fire hydrant, I think they're waiting from Robinson Engineering, so we can go forward with doing the RFPs and all that stuff for the fire hydrant, the first project for the fire hydrant. I didn't hear you say go forward and approve it for the agenda, put it on the agenda. Did he say, we got two projects
You talking about for
for the fire hydrant only?
We're gonna, yeah.
Okay, so it'll be on next week's agenda.
Well, it has to be bidded out. I mean,
Well,
we have to go in.
Jim won't even do that unless we approve it.
Okay.
So we need to approve him doing the work.
Thank you.
To move forward, so please put that on.
Is anybody here on the phone? Hello?
Yes, there is. Hello, Mayor.
Yes, who is it? Who is it?
Leon Miller.
Oh, okay. Is there anyone else? Okay, we get ready to go into public comment. And I'm gonna take the comment on the phone first instead of the ones that are here. So, do you have any questions, comments? Be directed to myself and.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Go ahead with it. Can everyone hear? Go ahead.
Good evening, our honorable mayor and all those who are in attendance. I just wanted to make a comment about the Halloween event. We're calling it Halloween Time. This is not an exclusive or inclusive event of the village, so it is intended to be in collaboration and conjunction with anything else that is going on in the village on Halloween Day, October 31st. We are suggesting sign-ups for this at 7-minute intervals to follow our sanitation protocol and also to practice social distancing. Families are not required, it is not mandatory that they sign up, but it is suggested so that we can project the traffic. We will be having them coming in per household. They'll be able to take a picture with the option to purchase additional pictures at a small fee of $1. And then they will be ushered into our back area where we will have volunteers who will give out candy. So it is in and out. We will have a character at noon, but this is not an event where people will be congregating at the library. So I just wanted to make that clarification clear on that event. You know, it's just to keep the Halloween festivities in Sauk Village where people don't feel like they have to go to other places. And I do not think the trunk or treat at Village Hall would disrupt any of the festivities. I really want to ask that as people are coming, if you guys could just let them know that there is an event at the library also from 2 p.m. And that is the end of my comment.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Miller. As I said, I'm going to answer yours first, and I'm going to go to the audience. Trustee Williams did convey that to us, and she did tell us the logistics dealing with the library, and we're going to start, I think, I said 12 o'clock. Yeah, it's at 12 o'clock, we're going to start the trunk or treat. So quite naturally, when they get through here, they can go there. And you're saying that they don't have to sign up, but you're going to limit the people that come in other words, every few minutes. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we're going to stage them out. And it's suggested that they sign up, but it is just so we can anticipate them coming, but it's not mandatory. We will not be turning anyone around.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Okay, we'll go to the people that are here. Please take Come up to the mic, state your name, and you have 3 minutes. Anybody have anything to bring before the public comment? You with a slow down.
Judy Camps here. It's been a while since I've been able to be here at a meeting. And as far as the teleconference went, it wasn't worth the stress involved to try that again, to be continually knocked off. Therefore, I looked to the Facebook page and videotapes to let me know what was going on. I was very distressed at a meeting that Mr. Finch had, and it bothered me a lot. And if I could have been here, I probably would have ended up in jail. I cannot believe that anybody could tell a trustee that they cannot comment or they cannot speak at an open meeting. I know for sure that Mr. Finch was aware that the 5 trustees involved were not responsible for the previous budget. I know that for sure. But to put them down and they don't have anything to say, can't cover their own backs, was not right. And I'm not gonna debate and I'm not gonna argue with you, and I know there's gonna be something said when I'm done, and if it's negative, that's fine, I don't care. Because if it is negative, I have the video where you yourself said that you took it upon yourself
1 minute.
to stop the previous trustees from doing the budget because you wanted these new trustees to have a chance at it. And then you delayed that budget, not the 5 trustees. And you 5 trustees, I kept wondering, when the hell are you going to get up and walk out? Why would you take that bullying? I couldn't believe it. But I want to let you know, I'm back. And I'm not happy with what I see. Where's our canine you promised? Not in the budget. What about the finances, the forensic audit? Whatever was said tonight, we conveniently didn't hear.
Right.
I don't know why you got new
Time.
no problem.
No, I said, you okay? And he said, no. I said, I'm terrible.
Good evening, Arnold Coleman. Just have 2 questions. Has the budget been passed yet? And also, when is the next budget up for review and possibly considered?
Pat Couch. I would just like to mention, we don't like sitting in the back and yelling at you people to speak up because we cannot hear. You might consider when you have people from home listening, because you are all masked up, which is what you're supposed to do. People cannot understand what you're saying. and you mutter and mumble, and nobody's hearing what you say. So maybe that's what you want, but you have microphones for a reason. Please, please use them so we don't have to sit back there and yell at you. Speak up. That's simple. You have microphones, use them. Money was well spent on those microphones. Please utilize them.
That it? Frank Harvey. I would like to announce I'm running for trustee. And today while I was out getting signatures, was one guy talked to me and he said he would like to have a whole crew of people come and talk to him before he signed anybody's signature because he's been trying to get the village to work on the sidewalk of his place. He says it's used as a tornado outlet. And he said that the stone where the cement is going to soon break. And he was saying he can't get anybody to do it. I told him I would certainly try my best to continue to talk about it if I get elected. But the main thing is I want you to know that I would like to, if I get elected, I would like to try to come and make people kind of settle down because when you get on the news and talk about on the news, you can't get anything done with a bunch of people fussing and fighting about things. When the audience cannot be made satisfied, we need to figure, the people that is elected need to figure out a way to make them satisfied.
Linda Washington. A couple of things tonight. Talking to residents, I just want to let the board and the mayor know that there are so many residents that have a lot of questions. There are so many residents that are displeased with so many things that are happening in the village. Every elected official has a phone number in this village hall. You should make your number available to the residents so that they can get in contact with you. One resident in particular is trying to sell their home. And they told me that I think there's one inspector for the entire village. One inspector that goes out and does everything. There's not a group of inspectors anymore. And to try to get an appointment from this one person, they was actually going to see this inspector on a Sunday because Monday through Friday, he was so backed up he was not available. But when I got to the resident to see the situation, the curb from the sidewalk out to the street is buckled and it's ridiculous. He can't even drive. And the inspector told him it's his job to get that fixed. Whatever paperwork that he needs to have done, it cannot be completed until that curb is fixed. And I'm hearing that a lot around in Sauk Village. So what I'm saying is, I tell residents, call the mayor. Call your trustees that you elected. That's what they're sitting up there to do, to work for the residents. They work for you. They watch your money. They watch out for your best interest, for goods and services. They say, we called the village hall, and we don't get any response back. And it is really sad when people are depending on you to watch their back and to speak up for them and you're not available. So you may not want to hear it from me, but I'm letting you know it's a sad day when you're in distress and your back is against the wall and you just need somebody to talk to that you elected in office and they will not respond or return your phone call. That's pathetic.
Good evening, Lizette Saunders.
Can't hear you.
Lizette Saunders. Saunders? Saunders, S-A-U-N-D-E-R-S. Just a quick question. We received a boil order this afternoon from the village concerning the water outage that occurred, I believe, last week. Just kind of curious, is that normal protocol for an outage that occurred, I believe, last Tuesday or Wednesday? And we're just not getting a boil order? I'm concerned because we've been using the water. Outside of the rust that you can see, I understand that microorganisms you can't see. So was this boil order brought on by the concerns of the EPA because of the water outage? Or did the EPA come out of curiosity because we had the outage? And then how long will the boil order be in effect? That's it.
That's it? Okay, few more comments. I'd like to comment on the comments that a couple people have brought up. But I will answer the questions that were asked. The forensic audit is underway. We will have an update here soon. I do know that there's been a lot of information that's been collected. So they can continue with their process of doing the audit. Next year's budget should be starting April or before. So that'll be for the next fiscal year, because the next fiscal year's end of May. June 1st starts a new one. So next April we should be working on it and have it reviewed hopefully by May of next year. Everything goes well. I'm sure the trustees heard, along with myself, as far as using the mics. I appreciate the person, but we're at when this public comments is not for, you're running for office, and I appreciate you saying that, and that's your right, but that's not what it's for. But point well taken. We have two inspectors for the village, and I'm here, and usually the village administrator is here. If you have questions or whatever, they can call to the village, and we all have telephones. Each trustee has a telephone. So when they call and they want to talk to a certain trustee, it's on the tree, as they call it, and that number, you can press the number corresponding to that trustee, and it will go to the voicemail. I'm sorry, you can do the voicemail on that person's phone, and hopefully they'll get back to you. The board order that was brought out today, it does have something to do with last week, and I talked to our village public works director, and they were told to do that. How long is it going to be until they test negative, or until it's tested within the parameters? So the board order will stay in effect, and they'll send out notifications when it's clear to not to have to boil. So they have to do the test, and they're going to be doing those tests, I think tonight. They don't quote me on it, but they'll be doing it within the next 24 hours, so they can see if they have to lift it or if it's going to still be that way. And that being said, that's all that I have. I'll start with questions comments from the trustees. We'll start with Trustee Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I'd like to thank Deon Miller for being on call and providing clarification for the library event. I did just receive this late today, so I really wasn't too clear when it came up in conversation today, so she did a great job of clarifying. So that is pertaining to that event. Also, there's a calendar on the table in the back of the public events through the rest of the year. We've been modifying this calendar as the year went on to try to work within COVID restrictions. We had a calendar at the beginning of the year, and several things changed because of social distancing, but the most current calendar is on the back table. Please feel free to avail yourself of that calendar. Also on the back table is the Sauk Village Public Events Committee free food box giveaways. We have 3 more scheduled for October 10th, 24th, and 31st at 9 a.m. at Boone Trail High School. I have modified this information slightly. If you fill this out, either online or if you call me with your name, your phone number, your organization, or you don't have to have an organization, you can just be an individual. How many boxes would you like to pick up? I will assign you a number and you can pick up as many boxes as you like. The reason for doing this is we want these food boxes to go to the people that need them. There may be seniors, there could be disabled, there could be other organizations that work within the village that can come pick up 15, 20, 30 boxes. If you have an organization, or if you just know 30 seniors that need some help, please feel free. And my phone number is on every single public events calendar, on everything I do. My cell phone number, my personal cell phone number, is on everything I do, and it's also on my voicemail when you call the Village Hall. So that if people want to reach me, I am always available, and I answer my phone call whenever it rings. So please know that my cell phone number is 708-351-8922. That is my personal cell phone, and I'm more than happy to take any calls from residents. And as far as the boil order, I just found out about that sometime today. I was wondering, Mr. Mayor, if there's something from the IEPA regarding the area, can we all get copied on it? Because I don't think I received anything. I really wasn't made aware of what was going on. I did notice that my own water, and I don't live in Deer Creek, I called you last week when I saw red water coming out of my own faucet, but it was temporary. So apparently the IEPA had a concern. So if we can get a copy of that, I would really appreciate that. And that's all I have right now. I just wanted to say all the Public Events Committee events are open to everybody, not only within our community, but outside our community. We try to be inclusive of the south suburbs. And anytime you want to join the committee, or if you have any ideas on what we could bring to the village in the way of an event, I would be more than happy to speak to anybody. Thank you. Have a great day.
Trustee Bell?
No comment.
Trustee Grant?
No comment.
Trustee Todd?
I have nothing at this time.
Trustee Brewer?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Sanders, as far as I know, the pipe under I-394 broke, and that's why we had the problem. But if I'm not mistaken, Ms. Campbell can speak to it later, we usually have e-news that's sent. Maybe, I don't know if you signed up for e-news, and she will let you know if something like this happens, and you keep abreast of what's going on. I don't know, but no? Okay. Well,
I would love to.
Okay, well, I mean, that's what I heard, but, so anyway, it was, broken, and maybe the village administrator could, talk more when we finish. But, before, I close out, I want to speak on, the comment that about Mr. Finch. Now, that whole, session that they had with Mr. Finch was orchestrated. The mayor told us when we first came in that trustees couldn't speak because there was too many of us there, and we were in violation of open meetings act if we started to talk. So that's something that we couldn't do. Otherwise, you know, I would have said something. But Mr. Finch told his side of the story. He didn't tell everything that was going on. A lot of us were here before Mr. Finch got here. And a lot of things that Mr. Finch didn't say was left out. And the most important thing that I guys want you to know is that Mr. Finch lumped all the trustees into one thing. I'm an individual. I do things differently than the other ones do. I make decisions based on the information that I'm given. So Mr. Finch it might be in his best interest to come back and sort of address some of the issues that he talked about. Believe me, I tell you, and if he lets the trustees talk, okay, if he lets the trustees.
I think what is at issue is that this is a committee meeting between the board and the trustee, you guys, and you're basically addressing the audience, and the mayor would prefer.
He wants me to turn my head?
Turn your head and talk to the trustees, please.
Okay. Well, anyway, like I said, the information that Mr. Finch gave was incomplete. If Mr. Finch would come back and let some of the trustees address what he was talking about, believe me, it would be an entirely different story. So everybody has their opinion, but nobody's entitled to fact, to everybody's, to their own fact. That's what I'm trying to say. So, Mr. Finch, you can come and talk to the trustees, and they'll be able to tell him whatever he needs to know or whatever we think it, because we might not know, because as you know, since 2017, we haven't had a problem with transparency. So I suggest that Mr. Finch come back, and then he can talk to trustees about what's going on and how they feel about things that would actually happen. You want to think, but I just want you guys to really know that we were not allowed to speak, and we couldn't speak because we were in violation of Open Meetings Act if any of us said anything. So just keep that in mind whenever you see more than 2, 3 trustees at one time. So, and I would really like to find more information about what happened with the board. That's the end of my comment.
Trustee,
Mr. Mayor. Just like the mayor stated, we all have phones here. If there's a complaint by a resident, they can call up at the village hall, and we have board meetings every Tuesday night. The board meetings are not well attended. If there's a problem, they need to come to the board meeting so we know what's going on to address that. And I'd like to thank Kevin for doing his presentation. I've known you for a long time, and you're doing great. So that's about all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, let me clarify something. The piping going across 394 did not break. I don't know where that came from, but that didn't happen. What happened is there was a pipe put under 394, a new one, because that was part of the money that we used for the refunding, so we could get a new pipe under 394 just in case, because the one that's under there has been under there since we energized that other side of 394, other side of Sauk Village to the industrial park. That's the only feed we had. So we used some of that money as was voted out, and it was put in, and it was talked about several times, and we had a contractor. As a matter of fact, we voted on the contractor to come in and do that piping. So it wasn't that a pipe busted under 394. They put a new pipe there and re-energized it, and that's how this happened, because they lost pressure. Why it wasn't checked, I don't know. But that's what happened. It wasn't a pipe that busted on the 394. Going forward, I just want to thank everybody that was involved in the corner dog roast and the drive-in. It was a success. People had fun at the drive-in. It was well attended. We may do a few things a little different next time, and we're going to do a little shopping around, but I think there may be a need for something like that we can do in the near future to have a drive-in. Maybe not in conjunction with that, but maybe have a drive-in period, maybe once every few months. I just wanted to let everyone know there's 2 things that's coming up that's very, very important. Number 1, census. 15th of this month is the last day for the census. Please, please, I hope everyone, I think our numbers are 62%. Okay, so that's bad. We should have at least 90% because we're losing money. So if there's anyone that did not fill the census out, please do so between now and then. Because we lose, I think it's $1,600 per person per year for the next 10 years is what we'll lose if we don't get properly counted. So it's not that hard to do. You can come up here to the village. And anytime we're open from 8 to 5 and fill out the census. And then also the second thing is register. Come out and register. That also can be done here at the village between 8 and 5. So if you can register for the next election, which is November 3rd, please come up and get registered. That being said, I'll accept the motion to adjourn.